As you can see, it's a miserable, murky day here in North Derbyshire, but these are all cleaned up now. These are all degreased. We've hit them with the U-POL degreaser there. So really all we've got to do is fire up tow compressor and hit him with a bit of paint. Okay, so see that black line there, that's 100mm, and so we've poured out 100mm of the 1K etch primer. Decided to consult the Churchill website. I'm not sure you can see this, but down here, technical data, and that's saying it can be thinned 20%, and you can see aluminium, sheet metal, protection of steel, anti-corrosion characteristics. Don't normally use it because I normally use I-build on steel. Not a painter, by the way. We've got the propane heater going, only showing you that because my mate Richard says I'm too tight to use it, and as you can see we're right up around 6-7 degrees, so we'll knock that off and then we'll put the paint on those. Okay, primer's on. We did 100ml there of etch primer, and I thinned it to 20%, so 120ml in total. It's gone on pretty nice, really. As I say, I've not particularly used it. Well, I haven't used it before. I normally use a two-part acid etch from another provider, but they let me down over lockdown. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think next Call of Duty is going to have a brew, isn't it, really? And let these harden off. We'll come back after we've had a brew and hit them with some I-build. So these are now sort of dried off to where I'm happy with them for supporting a coat of high build. So see, that one's just a bit wet around the clamp, but I'm pretty sure you can fire high build straight onto etch primer. There's no building etch primer. It's there purely as adhesion. So you could, in theory, I suppose, colour onto it, but I want something I can flat back. So if we have a look here, these are the products we're using. This is, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is the high build primer. So we used originally this 1K, which is doesn't mean it's not 2-pack, it's a single stage product. And we're moving on to 2K, which is more commonly known as 2-pack, and you need this 2K primer hardener. I've obviously opened the tin, the labels of it everywhere, so I got this one out just to demonstrate. So 2K HS Grey 4.1. So 2K is 2-pack, so we know it needs a hardener or an activator. HS I'm not sure, possibly I-build. Grey is obviously the colour, and 4.1 is the mixing ratio, so you need 4 parts of the paint to 1 part of the primer hardener. This is just an ordinary activator, I would have thought. If we were doing top coat, colour, the mix wouldn't be 4.1, it would be 2.1. So I've got that mixing away. We're only going to go for 150ml. I've marked my pot up, as you can see. So the bottom line is 150ml. So if you divide that by 4, 37 and a bit, 37 and a half. So we're going to call it 40. So I've guesstimated 40ml on there. Obviously we're very exact here. We're going to whisk that up, splash a bit of thinners in, and swat it over them air tanks, see what we end up with. Hopefully we leave enough on it to give them a nice flatting back. But again, if you're not doing it before, you're not sure what them quantities are. So, you know, I've been putting 300 ml in before now and then having to chuck half of it away. Great, let's see how we go on. Great, so I've got my grey primer in there, and we're going to have a go at topping that up. So as you can see there, you see this, Richard, one hand. You can see there we're now 150 paint grey primer, and then roughly 40 activator. So we're going to give that a whisk up, see what it looks like. I'll possibly chuck 10% thinners in it just to help it flow. See how it goes. Yeah, not too bad that. I'll possibly put a splash of thinners in there in a minute or two. We're running a 1.3 cap on this gravity feed gun. Again, nothing fancy, 40 quid from Wigan Paints. We'll have a quick check on the temperature. And we're right up around 10 degrees now, so I'm going to knock that off. Knock the propane heater off because we're not too warm now. And hit it with some paint. Okay, second coat of primer's on. Second coat of high build. Got to say that the etch primer smells better than the high build. Quite enjoyed the etch primer. Anyway, so you can see on this one we've got some scarring from some of the paint we didn't take off before. Yeah, I'm going to flatten that back. We'll lose some of the definition on that. But again, tank's going to be on the chassis. You're not going to see it. A lot of this is about protection. Brackets are painted. Everything's had a couple of coats. Again, you can see there we've got a couple of dints where the bracket mounts. That sits in between the chassis at the back on the 4000. It is a 6x4 double drive, so you're not going to see an awful lot of it, but it wants to be right. So everything's had a bit of time to harden off in the last couple of hours. We're going to hit it with a 320 grit disc. Hit the two tanks. I'm not worried about anything else. And all we're looking to do is a light scuff just to take off the well, the sandy finish, I suppose. Now, if we were painting a Ferrari, we'd obviously tack rag this down and all the rest of it, but we're not. We're painting something that's not going to get seen, that we just want to look nice and be protected. Right, this is our blue. It's a Ford colour. I'll just show you the label. Yeah, so it's from Wigan Car Paints. It's 2K 2-pack. Ford Gentium blue. I think it's Ford Tractor blue that. RAL numbers 5010, and it's from their truck range. But it's a good colour. Good colour. Looks. We've done a few bits with it already. Comes out really well. Mix wise, I'm going to do 200ml of colour and 100ml of hardener. And again, that's because this is a 2-to-1 mix. So let's see how we go on. We're up to 10 degrees now, and we've got the blue mixed ready. Gun's had a really good clean out, obviously. Don't forget to clean the top out, especially the air vent. That's caught me out a few times over the years. We've had the needle out, everything's had a wash. Bit of scruff on the outside, but it's great inside. Again, You know, if we were painting a Ferrari, I probably would run it through a filter, but we're painting chassis components. On a 30-year-old truck. Put it in perspective a bit. So let's put this on. We're going to put it on at 26 psi. We've got 2 parts paint, 1 part activator or hardener, and then a decent splash of 2K thinner. We're going to go for 3 coats, 3 lightish coats. The final coat will be slightly over thin just to make it run a bit. So let's see how we go on. So everything just gets a light coat on that first coat. We've been out about 10 minutes and you can see that that's dry already. You can see through the coat because it's only a tack coat. So we're going to hit it with number 2 now. We're about 10 minutes after that second coat. We've obviously got the heater on, just trying to get this lot to flash off. Doing a pretty good job. I'm quite pleased with that actually. Tank needs a bit more. But all in all, they've got a good bit of shine on them. And they're about where they need to be, those. Let's do that bracket there a bit more. Hub's okay. As I say, you're going to have a chrome disc on there, you won't see that, you won't see that hubcap. For that matter, you're not going to see them either. And they hold the brake chambers to the diaphragms and the mounting, which obviously goes to your slack adjuster. Okay, so it's back in the gun now, nice and thin. And if I take the stick out of the way, you can see that there's quite a bit of thinners in there compared to how we finished that last run up. Okay. Right, it's been about a quarter of an hour since we last were in here. We've been and had a cup of tea and contemplated life. As you can see, that's drying, or dried. Yeah, obviously checking the masking tape first. That'll do. So what we want it to do now is harden off. So we're going to open the door and try and reduce the temperature in here now. We've got this door open, the personnel door. I'm opening the big door, and already you can see it's blowing the remaining dust and overspray out, and that will help harden off the finish on these. Nice colour, that gentian blue. I mean, quite pleased with that. Cursory look at this lot shows us we haven't been visited by Linford Christie or any of his other running mates. This week was Blue Week, but last week was Red Week. So this is off the S80. This is the front axle for the S80. So as you can see, that's the offside brake chamber mount. This is the near side brake chamber mount. I'll get to that. This is the offside chassis rail for the S80. This is the cutout for where the gear stick goes, and you can see, look closely, it's flame cut. Bowden's cut and flat with a flame. Back plates, not bad for a 50-year-old flat back plate, is it that? Or 47-year-old. Again, even still got the rubbers on it. Bowden's a little cooling system on the brake drum. Shock absorber mount. This is the offside one, because that hole there is so that the bolt can be put through into the gear shift mount. And again, these have been sat out for about a week. I think it's worth mentioning that these will get painted again when they're fitted to the vehicle, when they're fitted to the lorry. These will just get painted as part of the chassis. But if we look at the shock absorber mount, for instance, we've painted the rear of it, and it'll go on to the chassis that's also painted. And the chassis will have 2 coats or 3 coats of eye build. It'll be flattened back, it'll have 3 coats of colour, and then that will be bolted to it. Everything will be rubbed back gently, probably with 320s, and the whole lot painted. And that will mean that when the truck's assembled and it's painted and it's on the show field, you'll still be able to see the definition of the joint, rather than that ladling of paint that goes over and you lose the joint where people have put 6 coats of paint on to try and get a finish. So that's why we do it that way.